I'll see you guys in a week.
That would literally be Reaper in a nutshell. Like, here's your news, read it.
ARK is a game. Click.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk off right now.
Yeah.
Right. So you are awake, right, Sunshine? Just want to make sure.
Such a dad.
I don't know yet. We'll see in about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Well, we're going live right now because right now we're actually live.
Everybody.
We're actually just checking out Reaper right now as he munches away on. I'm gonna assume it's peanuts. It's probably not peanuts, but we're just gonna talk about it being peanuts right now.
It's actually goldfish, but I mean, assume what you will.
You know, it sounds, which is close enough.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What?
Nothing.
You tired right now. What's going on, everyone? Reaper's a little bit, I don't know, under the weather, maybe a little bit tired, but whatever. You know, the show must go on. And I am iDizzy81, and I'm going to pass it around to everybody around here. Actually, we have somebody from Lead Writers who would be so kind to introduce herself.
I am Panda, a.k.a. Gretchen.
We got Panda in the building. Panda's also one of the co-hosts over on the Planet Xbox podcast as well with Kid Smooth. Shout out to Kid. And let's kick it over to you, Lord Iron Lord Zero.
I'm not here. No, I'm kidding. How's it going, everybody? It's Zero back to talk some video games as usual, chilling.
And then we got this guy.
The disrespect.
Right? I mean, she really just wanted to go back to bed. Like, just back to bed.
Somebody is not awake. We can definitely tell that right now. But he's a trooper. He still got his ass up. He got his ass here. And we are going to get ready to talk about everything we got for today. So today we're going to talk about Destiny 2. The beta's out. We're going to talk a little bit about the fighting genre. We will briefly discuss one of Reaper's favorite topics, and that's ARK. We'll save that for later.
His grunt.
And one of the subjects that he really can't stand, which is Kingdom Hearts. So we'll talk about that as well as what we're watching and everything. So per the usual for most of these podcasts, what's everybody playing these days?
You mean besides the Destiny beta?
And screw that shit.
So how are you enjoying the beta? Who's playing the beta right now? Because I'm not.
I am.
Oh, okay. So what are your tell us about it. Tell us about it. What are you playing it on? And tell us a little bit about it, your experience.
I'm playing it on the Xbox right now. I've only gotten to play for like an hour, but I've already played through part of the story when I went to E3, so part of the story I already kind of knew about. And then, but the Crucible is absolutely awesome. It's really cool. The movement is a lot more smooth from what I've experienced so far than it was in the previous Destiny. And a lot of the things make a little bit more sense than previous Destiny.
How much of the grimoire are you having to go through to get the story?
None.
None, yeah.
It's not even in there. The story is a story.
Oh, tell me that is relief. Gaming Addict, shout out to Gaming Addict. He's out there in the chat right now. So he's saying that the game is fun right now. What are you thinking, Zero.
I'm loving it, bro. I've got time in with each of the classes, and mess around with each of the subclasses, new supers, and everything. I've collected, as far as I know, most of the weapons you can get in the beta right now. Everything feels pretty damn good. It's solid, and the story mission that they let you do, the homecoming mission, it does a good job of conveying a actual story to you this time, which I know is one of its biggest, well, what was one of Destiny's crutches, which is understandable, and they seem to have learned from that and improved, which is a good thing. It's a big positive.
So there's no grimoire present at all.
Negative, sir. There's not even a score.
I'm gonna have to go to Bungie.net in order to figure out what the fuck's going on, right?
What? As far as it is in the beta, no, not at all.
Well, that's good to hear. I've been one of those. I'm on the caveat side of where I won't be. I'm right now battling if whether or not I want to pick it up, mainly because I know with me, I told myself I really wanted to see the ball come in here and kick some ass and everything, and sure enough, what the story is about is the ball coming in and kicking some ass, because they were neglected in the first iteration of Destiny, so they looked like they were going to pick it up with Destiny 2, but I kept telling myself I'm not picking it up because I felt Bungie was a little bit lazy with the 60 frames per second excuse. I still feel that they could achieve it, but whatever. It's beyond me.
That's fair criticism.
I'm gonna try out the beta. That might be the last opportunity that it has to pull me in. I do like that a lot. It looks a lot like the original game, from what I've seen. I haven't played it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Boogie last night, of all people. He's not good at shooters, but he looked like he was having a lot of fun. So I mean that speaks volumes. You can be terrible at the game and still have a blast at it. Ain't that right?
Well, what I will say is what the homecoming mission drives home, and I think it was a very smart decision on Bungie's part. It drives home the fact that the Cabal make the Fallen and the Hive look like complete and other bitches. Like the Cabal, you do not fuck with the Cabal, and I like that they drove that home in that one mission. Is such a smart move. So good.
The perception that I've had whenever they're talking about the story, and the thing that makes Gary look like an excellent villain is it doesn't look like he is hell bent on destroying humanity, more so pretty much putting his foot on them and letting him know that they're cockroaches to him and that he can destroy them at any point that he wants to. It's almost like having to live in terror rather than not having to live at all. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but
I kind of get where you're coming from with that.
It kind of looks like that kind of vibe. What about you, Reaper? What are you thinking about this beta so far?
Pass.
Pass. You're not going to play it at all.
I'm going to make like Drew Brees and just pass on this entirely.
Passing on it entirely. I believe that. I believe that Reaper will probably be picking it up eventually in time and everything.
You would believe wrong, sir.
So, do we have any expectations based off of the beta from you two at all?
Expectations. Not that I can really think of. I mean, honestly, if I'm honest, I can't really think of any, glaring issues or anything, I'm wanting to fix in it right now. I'll be honest with you. So trying to come up with expectations kind of meh. Of course, I want a bigger, more involved story, obviously, but it feels like they're going to go that direction. If they don't, then I'm going to tear their asses apart for it, just like I did in the first one. So we'll see how that goes, but I can't really think of none right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. They don't really have much in the beta. Like they have a lot in it, but they don't have very many weapons. They don't have very many different types of armor. They show you one exotic from what I've seen so far, and the opening snippet of the story.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, that's good because it felt like in the very first beta, you played at least a fourth of the entire vanilla story that they gave
Yes.
you. So by the
Yes.
time you got done with the game, you're like, that's it. Like I already paid. And you know what? It was, we made such a big deal about PlayStation at the time. They were able to get both the Earth and the Moon.
Mhm.
But in hindsight, looking at it, they played half the fucking game in the beta. Like,
That's fair.
they
That
played
is a
more
fair
than
point.
what we did, so they had less to deal with or less to play whenever the game finally released. How screwed up is that? But so the beta is going on right now for early access buyers
Mhm.
or for the pre-purchase and stuff like that. So PlayStation's been on it for 2 days? I think Xbox started. Was it today or did they start
Today at
yesterday as
1
well?
p.m.
Today.
Okay, so they started today. PC was today as well, or were they
No,
yesterday?
PC is next month.
Next month. Oh my
Yes, sir.
gosh, that sucks.
So much for being the master race.
Or
Right?
more like they were just backhanded by Bungie. That's I digress. So is it
Well, I do have to
MOAR
say
or
that
what's that?
on the PC, I got to play it on the PC when I was at E3,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it was a lot easier to control on the PC. So for the PC gamers, it'll be a lot easier to control than on the console. But if you haven't played on PC before, it might be a little difficult. But once you get it, it's a lot faster.
Fair enough.
That's nice. Okay. Well, so they get it next month. Is it tomorrow that it opens up completely for
Friday.
console then? Friday? Okay, so it opens up Friday for console, so everybody will get to play it at that point. That's probably when I'll, download it and see if they can win me back over and everything. But, until then. So there was another thing that I was actually looking at, and it seems like over the last few years, and especially for this year for some reason, I'm seeing a lot more fighters pop up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and it seems that a lot of them, they're getting a little bit more excitement around them. And I thought it was pretty interesting and everything. And the reason why I say that is because, like, right now, I mean, it seems like that the King Kong, the Godzilla, the Mac Daddy of the gaming sphere and of the gaming genres right now is probably shooters. I would probably bet my arm on that it's the shooters are probably king dog right now. But I remember back in the 90s, I had this infatuation with Mortal Kombat 2. They had the coolest looking cabinet, and I remember always wanting to go play it. And after my parents noticed that you can murder people at the end of it, not all the time, but you can murder people at the end of it, you're like, I don't think you should be playing this game, And looking back then, it seemed like that there were a lot of fighters, and I would almost say that back then, if you weren't playing a platformer, you were probably playing a fighter game. And it seems like that, maybe it's just my perception, but they're starting to make a little bit of a comeback, And to me, I feel like that it started really with Killer Instinct with the Xbox.
Right.
That they came back in and they did this in a different mode. They did it with the seasons. They said let's scrap the old formula. Let's do seasons. Let's continue to build on what we have. And to be honest with you, even though I suck at fighters, I picked it up. At least for the first season, and I said, it's actually not bad. What do you guys think about the fighter genre? Do you think that this is an opportunity for the genre to make a big stamp now? Because is Evo still going on, or is it just finished?
Evo finished, yeah.
Evo finished. Okay, now I'll let you speak about Evo and everything. You're a lot more versed than I am about this Zero, so actually I'm going to kick it over to you. I'll let you take the floor on this of what you feel is going on with this genre.
Well, what it is, and shout out to Lord Cognito. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but me and him, we've been calling it the fighter renaissance because it does feel like a comeback, and I agree that it feels like Killer Instinct, I almost say Kingdom Hearts, Killer Instinct might have worked, But I feel like the people who really jump-started it was NetherRealm with Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X. They have been... their fighting games for the past few years have just been so good. Just so good. And it was... When Mortal Kombat X came back on the scene that... how would you put it? That like fighting game tournaments and stuff kind of came back into the forefront. And it's nice to have along that you got, like, you know, your games like Tekken 7, which had, like, you know, this big old Evo tournament and everything, and it's just good to have, you know, so many fighting games popping up all at one time and different variations too. You know, you have like your fighting games where each button on the pad controls a limb, sort of like Tekken, and then you have the heavy, light, medium, attack mix-up thing going on with NetherRealm and their games, and then you have the Street Fighter stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's good. I feel like if NetherRealm's been really good with support for Injustice 2 so far, Tekken is starting to show that. I think they just announced, I think his name is Geese or something. I don't know the character or what game he's from, but they just announced him as a DLC character for Tekken 7. And I know next month they're going to come out with Tekken Bowl, which is a fan favorite mode. So as long as these fighting games keep supporting, the fan base and, you know, putting out content and everything, I do feel like we can see a resurgence of it. Now, I don't think it's going to replace shooting games, because shooting games are just like this big monster that you're not going to get rid of. I don't think Injustice is going to outsell, you know, something like a Destiny, for example, or a Call of Duty, or a Halo next time a Halo comes out. But they can get up there, and I feel like they're going to get there. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Right. Reaper, do you think that the fighters are any less competitive than shooters?
No.
Less competitive, no. Do I see fighters replacing shooters? No. And I say that primarily because you have games like Call of Duty that are really just kind of mindless and easy to play, where it's like put the game in, run around, pull the trigger, and you're done. Whereas a fighting game actually requires you to know button combinations. I mean, you can button mash all you want, but I mean, that's not fun. So the fighters actually require you to know button combinations.
It's funny you mentioned that. The worst feeling in the world. Has anybody else been victim to that small child that you go and you play a fighter against, and you know that they're smashing buttons and somehow they beat your ass, and you don't understand how it happened because, you know, you're skilled enough and you know the combos, and here you are trying to pull these combos off, and next thing you know, you're getting Liu Kang to the mouth and everything.
Just straight bicycle kick after bicycle kick after bicycle kick. Like, what the fuck is this kid doing? Well, man, how'd you do that? I don't know. Pushing random buttons. Go to bed.
And it's crazy because you can look over and you could see them laying their hands all over the buttons. It's not even like a combination that they're doing. They're just hitting every button that's on the controller. And you're like, what is going on here?
It's like last week when all you hear is Lord Zero hammering the keys. Like,
yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Right now.
I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, now it's like smashing the freaking controller. Yeah, I'm doing so well. What the fuck?
Well, as someone who's learned all of like the button combinations and everything in like previous games, which the only game that I got like really competitive in was Dead or Alive. But being someone who memorized all of the button combinations and everything for every single character in that game, and being massively obsessed with it, I was able to beat people who button mash just from doing counters.
Right.
That is that they don't have any kind of strategy, and they don't press the same button, you know, in a sequence.
Yeah.
So
It's like a random mess.
Yeah.
Complete random mess.
And not every fighting game, for whatever reason, has counters too, which is weird. It's just
right.
To me.
And you know, there's a lot that's coming out because, you know, we're just looking like, you know, within the last year alone, you know, we did have Injustice 2. What was that, back in April? There was the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. there's a lot of the animes that actually have been popping up a lot of fighters recently as well. I see people playing that Naruto. Pardon me if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah, you butchered
It's all
that.
That was after my after my viewing age.
Naruto. That's an O at the end. Man. What the?
Before that, you
hell?
had Mortal Kombat 10. You know, and of course they brought in all of the horror characters. You know, as DLC packages, which was pretty neat. Like I said, you had Killer Instinct. You know, just a couple years ago. There's another Dragon Ball Z game that's coming out. It reminds me a lot of the old PlayStation 1 Dragon Ball
series.
games. Yep. Yes, those ones. Of course, Tekken 7 just recently and everything. We got Marvel vs. Capcom. Was it Infinite or Infinity, something like that? That's coming up here soon. They actually have the demo out right now, and apparently it's part of the story mode. And I downloaded it. I think that probably the one that captured my attention and held it the most was the Marvel vs. Capcom series itself. Although I will say I felt like I didn't like the third one, mainly because it was just like one button combos, and you just press buttons to combine combos together and everything. It just kind of like took a little bit of the fun away from it. I felt like the other two were a little bit better because they didn't give you the instant combo, but it felt cheap with 3. But I'm excited to see how this one turns out. Hopefully they don't keep that same scheme. I don't know. I haven't played the demo yet, but I did.
That's how it's gonna be, homie. It's gonna.
The demo's fun.
That sucks. I mean, I want to know about the story then.
I did play the demo. It's pretty interesting.
I feel like they're gonna lose a big chunk of their people to fighters, though. If I'm being bluntly honest, because fighters is kind of the same premise. Yeah, I mean, it's as far as PvP goes, because it's a 3 versus 3 tag and fighting game. And I mean, I see people picking one over the other as opposed to getting both. Plus, I think, do they have a release date on Infinite yet? I don't know if they do.
I believe that there's a release date yet, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, fair enough. I don't know. I just feel like those two games might eat into each other's player base, but we'll see.
Right on. So, anybody else with the fighting genre? Anybody?
X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
That old arcade game back when we grew up in Missouri.
Fun.
Dude, I used to go to the BX. I used to go to the arcade at the BX in Missouri when we were kids, and sit there for like 3.5 hours, pocket full of quarters, like, yeah, this is happening.
Right. Yep, I remember them days. I think that the funnest I had in the arcade sphere with the fighters, there's 2 of them that I can remember. I remember playing at a young age the first Virtua Fighter. That was a lot of fun. And then aside from the first Virtua Fighter, I remember when Mortal Kombat 4 first came out, like the day that it came out. It was actually, arcades were still something back then. And I remember people were lined up waiting for the arcade to open just to go play this cabinet. And here I go. I'm like this, 10, 11, 12-year-old little dipshit. And there's like all of these guys much older than me and everything. They're all beating each other and everything. And here I go, and I just hop on there, and I started off with Reptile, and then is it Quan Chi? Is that the guy with the white? Yeah, he's the one with the white head, right? I think I alternated between them two, and I was that little dipshit that was just mashing buttons randomly and beating all these guys. And like I remember there was one guy that was like severely upset and said, "No, that little fucking shit cheated." Like, I was like, "Bro, it just came out."
Calm down, man.
So I can see it's still a genre that definitely does have the competitive nature still, and it seems like it's just picking back up. So it's good to see.
The thing I like the most about talking about fighters is you just said the cabinet, and you probably confused some people. Like, what's a cabinet?
More than likely, a lot of people are confused about what a cabinet is. You see back in my grandpa days when if you are unfamiliar with a cabinet, whenever you go to an arcade, the arcade machine is often referred to as a cabinet.
Yep.
What they do is they build the cabinet and then they put everything inside of it. You can actually go to a lot of arcade repair stores and buy the cabinets themselves and create your own machine. Actually, speaking of cabinets, it's still a very big thing that actually a lot of indie developers do. The Behemoth, the developers do Castle Crashers, they are known to go to a lot of these expos and they custom make all of their cabinets. That I remember seeing the Castle Crashers one. It looked so fun, and they did one for Battle Block Theater, and I think that they got the most recent game that they have is going to be in a cabinet, and I believe it's at Comic-Con right now. I just saw a tweet earlier today where they were showing off the cabinets going out to the floor. So still something that is a little bit relevant, even though that nobody ever uses them anymore. And it's hard to find an arcade now.
This is true. That's a fair point.
Right. So, Reaper, what did you do on Sunday?
Played Mario Kart and drank.
Mm-hmm. Did you record something because you probably didn't watch it Sunday and you watched it later?
I do not know what you are talking about, sir. Don't know what. Plead the fifth, man. I plead the fifth. So listen, man. Listen. It's Wednesday, all right? I have to wait 4 more days before I can watch the next episode. And he's just stop. Stop.
Has anybody not seen it before we absolutely spoil something?
Yeah, me, because I just don't watch the series.
Okay, so you don't watch the series. You
don't got the season. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So Panda, are we going to ruin anything for you talking about this? No. Okay. And Reaper, you don't even watch it?
No, I haven't watched it.
Okay, you've already watched it. Okay, so then you'll be able to have input on this and everything. So, was John right or was John wrong? If you haven't seen the series, now's a good time to skip forward into this podcast. Or if you're watching live and listening live, you might just go ahead and mute us for like the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'd recommend muting it and doing yourself a favor and going and watch the fucking episode.
Kid Smooth and Gaming Addict right now are streaming Destiny 2. You might go watch that for about at least 10 minutes and then come back.
Or,
we don't got a lot of viewers, so
do yourself a solid favor and go watch the fucking show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not changing my mind,
so
bro.
Anyways.
No, I'm kidding.
I'll get you.
You're not changing my mind, bro.
I'll get you, Dale. Don't you worry about that.
So was John wrong? Should have he given...
If I were him, I would have straight up slapped the shit out of her.
Damn.
Like, you do this. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm in charge. Like, oh my god, dude. Yes. Put her in her place.
What do you think, Panda? Do you think John was wrong?
Not at all.
Not at all? Yeah, I didn't either. You know, as somebody had pointed out, and I imagine a lot of people also noticed as well, Sansa, she had a OG Cersei hairstyle going on. Did anybody else catch that?
I did not until it was pointed out to me.
Yeah. What about you, Panda? Did you catch that?
No, I didn't at all.
Yeah, she had Cersei's original hairstyle actually popping out. The same way that Cersei had hers when she had long hair, of course. You know. Yeah. And of course, then she goes and she makes the statement where, you know, she's not her, but she learned a lot from her and everything. So I think that the thing I do like about Sansa in this instance and everything is that it seems like a lot of these individuals, they keep getting off. They don't have somebody there that's challenging them, and not challenging them in a logical manner. You know, if we look at back when the other Starks were about to go into the Red Wedding and everything, that was like more of a mother telling her son, like, hey, you shouldn't do this because I'm your mom and I said so kind of challenge. Whereas this is a right and wrong for good or for better or worse. You know, it seemed like that kind of challenge. I don't know if I would have slapped her, but yeah, I still think that he wasn't wrong. I definitely
would have. You gotta assert that, man. Like she went out of her way to sit there and say that he's the rightful leader, and then a year in real time later, well, you're an idiot. You should do this differently.
Right. I think that probably everybody's biggest issue with the show is that the people that should be killed get to live, and the people that should be living get killed, which always sucks.
Dude, you know,
like, why is Lord Baelish still there?
What?
Littlefinger, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna end up dying a very like uneventful death. Like he's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, Daenerys, you know, I should work for you." Dragon eats him. Like, oh, that's how this bitch goes out? Really?
Yeah, I could almost see it being a very anticlimactic death whenever he finally does die. Otherwise, if he doesn't die, he's probably going to be the one sitting on the damn Iron Throne. I digress, but I could see it being very anticlimactic, a very much Avengers where Loki's yelling at Hulk and throwing all these insults, and next thing you know, he's getting flung all over the place and just pretty much pulverized. I could see it being very anticlimactic, like, everybody's going to have a good laugh about this. It's like, no, you should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah, all right.
I digress and everything. So was it a good first premiere episode? Does everybody, what does everybody feel about that? I enjoyed it.
I loved it. I think my favorite part of the whole thing was the very, like, opening of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a...
Yeah.
I don't know if she or Hit Girl from Kick-Ass are more badass, because they're pretty neck and neck and everything as far as, like,
I have to say that she
badassery.
I'm going to have to give it to her, yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence about that. I still like a lot of Hit Girls thing and everything. So, but yeah, it definitely was a listen here, all right, sir. Yeah, I agree. It definitely was a good first episode and everything. The ending also, I don't know. I did feel that the ending was a little bit abrupt. We didn't get, because it seemed like that it hit on all of the fronts of the main story, and then we get to the last one, and it like pretty much abruptly ends without much going on.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that though.
Hopefully, it just it goes to do other things in the future and everything.
They should have played the whole thing like the to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
Like where it leaves it on a really like tough spot.
Oh yeah, I think that my biggest concern is, of course, it's a shortened season, but there's supposed to be longer episodes. I was actually talking to a friend, and he was like, "Well," and shout out to Frodo with this. We were talking about it, and it's like, "Well, isn't the episode longer?" I was like, "I don't know." Well, the grand total of what I watched was about 58 minutes, but that also includes like the 3-minute intro. That also included the 5-minute of let's catch you up in the series at the very beginning. And that also included the credit scene, which was a total of around 58 minutes or so. So I don't know if it was any longer than the previous ones. I think that maybe by 5 minutes-ish, it seemed like it, but that's probably the extent if you include all of that together.
Yeah.
So I think that might be my only concern is, like, you got to tell us a little bit more story if you're going to shorten up the season.
Yeah, usually season premieres are like 2 hours long, right?
Exactly. A lot of series have been pushing for the longer premiere because they got a lot to tell and a lot to catch you up on, and that you've been gone for so long. You try to help you remember a lot of it. Aside from Game of Thrones, has anybody else watched any movies this week? War for the Planet of the Apes came out. It's getting really good reviews.
I did go see that.
You did?
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Did you watch the second one?
That's the second one the day after I saw War for the Planet of the
Oh, my Lord.
Deep breath.
I did wiki the entire plot synopsis of Dawn, and then went to go see War. Then watched Dawn the day after.
Listen, my friend, this is not a Star Wars episode, all right? You don't start at episode 4, first of all.
Listen,
how did you enjoy it?
It was good. I obviously don't care that much about Planet of the Apes like you and the rest of everybody else does, but it was a good movie overall.
You enjoyed it? Okay. I have yet to see it. I do plan on seeing that very, very, very soon. So hopefully sometime this week I'll see it. Yeah, I already anticipated that. And if Andy Serkis does not get a award this year for his performance as Caesar, I might be a little bit upset about that as well.
Hey man, it took DiCaprio God knows how long to get a freaking Oscar. Okay.
Okay, look, you're comparing Leonardo DiCaprio to Andy Serkis. All right, clearly one is the better actor. All right, not everybody can be King Kong.
You're right, and it took that better actor, decades to get an Oscar. So Serkis can wait. Son.
Not everybody can be a curled up little skinny twat.
You're right. Not everybody can be Leonardo DiCaprio. Not everybody can get thrashed by a bear and still be badass about it. You're right. It's okay.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be a freaking popsicle at the end of the movie and still make everybody cry and not win an Oscar, okay? It's okay. Serkis can wait.
Anyways, okay, so World of the Planet of the Apes. How about Spider-Man having a 61% drop-off week 2? Did anybody else see that coming? I kind of felt like it was coming.
Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me too terribly much, if I'm honest.
They just remade Spider-Man way too many times.
It's not even that I feel like is. I mean, that plays part of it. I just think that Tom Holland's name just doesn't hold, as much weight to it as somebody like Robert Downey or Chris Evans
or Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, but at the time, Tobey Maguire. I don't know. I still look at Toby as still Peter Parker just because they haven't had the others around long enough for me to feel like, okay, well, they played the role enough. I really didn't care for Garfield. And, of course, I mean, we only got a little bit of...
I loved him as Spider-Man. I watched this video the other day, and it took scenes from, the big fight scenes and everything from all the Spider-Man movies and the series, the Spider-Man 1 to all that, Amazing Spider-Man, and some snippets from Homecoming. And the difference between people like Tom Holland and Garfield as Spider-Man as opposed to Tobey Maguire is it's so stark because you realize that Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man didn't say a goddamn word. And Spider-Man's supposed to be this charismatic, goofy-ass character.
Right.
And that's what was missing from Maguire's role as Spider-Man. He was a good Peter Parker. He was a terrible Spider-Man.
And I've seen a lot of people actually say that where they thought that Tobey was the better Peter Parker, but the other gentleman, whose name is evading me right now.
Andrew Garfield?
Andrew Garfield, yeah, was the better Spider-Man.
Oh, his head and shoulders way better. Far better.
So clearly they should have just swapped them out. It's okay, now Toby can
go. That could work. See, I didn't mind Toby until it got to the point where the whole emo Parker thing happened. I could.
But we gotta think: is that his fault or is that the?
Well, he was doing shitty acting on top of it, so yeah, kind of.
You can only do so much whenever you're given a shitty script, all right?
It's like as soon as they gave him that emo haircut with the mascara on his eyes and shit, his acting skills just went out the window.
Yeah, dude, when he's strutting down the street in that black suit, okay, that's the best part of the entire freaking movie. Everything else was terrible. But he's just walking down there in the freaking black suit, what up? Oh, what up, bro? How you doing?
Right. He had a little bit of swag with him, He might have even stolen a wallet or two.
And then they stripped him of it all completely in a minute.
Yeah, they ruined Venom entirely. And they made Venom a little Ugh.
Oh yeah, they made Venom a little bitch. Oh my lord.
Yeah, I'd have to say, and for me, that was the beginning of my childhood being ruined because I grew up enjoying Venom. Now
I love
I
Venom.
get
Yeah.
it. He is a very aesthetic surface character. He's not really deep. There's not a lot to him below the surface other than the fact that he has this infatuation with Spider-Man and Peter Parker. But that was the first time that one of the movie directors completely destroyed one of my favorite characters without actually giving them due justice. And I didn't think it could get any worse than the Michael Bay let Shockwave just go to lay to waste. I digress. I don't want to get over this.
Your childhood is just, shit.
Yeah.
It's just
we
gone to
better
shit.
move on before this becomes like a little powwow of being upset and everything.
Really? You want to move on from discussing how your childhood was ruined by movies to discussing how my childhood was ruined by a 10-year wait that's now 11 years?
So, but you get to play in the Toy Story realm right now, so I don't understand what the big problem is. What's the big fucking deal, guy?
I can tell you what I was getting upset about.
The big fucking deal is that it's taken this fucking long.
See, that's not even the issue with me. It's just people bitching about the game coming out their systems.
Dude, okay, you know what? Fuck those people.
I agree.
If you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'm a PS Pierce, blah, 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 Kingdom Hearts, go fuck yourself. I'm dropping on the hammer. Go fuck yourself. You're not a true gaming fan if you're going to bitch and moan about a game not being exclusive. Suck a fucking dick.
That thing was 4 years old.
No, we're not even talking about the petition.
Okay.
This was actual outrage on the tweet that the Kingdom Hearts Twitter sent out.
Okay,
and people were saying that they were stupid. They should have kept it a PlayStation exclusive. They're not going to buy it. They're never supporting the series again. They're boycotting it.
Man, I'm losing exclusive rights to this game. I'm not going to buy and support you. Go fuck yourself. You're lost. You're an idiot for not playing what's going to be one of the best fucking games ever, in my opinion.
Do they believe that they're going to hurt Square Enix's pockets, or even for
no?
That?
Apparently,
they might feel that way, but like, go fuck yourself. It's a great fucking game. If you hate the fact
that Xbox, I think that we talked about Kingdom Hearts, but we were talking about that petition that was 4 years old and everything.
The petition.
I've never played the game. I like the concept, but it just doesn't scream play me to me. Okay, so I'm looking at this game as complete ignorantly as possible because I know nothing about it other than the fact is it looks like that you took some old Final Fantasy characters and smashed it together with a bunch of Disney properties. So which is nice. Like I actually like I was saying, you got what Toy Story is going to be part of this universe now. Is Marvel and Star Wars going to be part of it? Has that been confirmed? Because they were part of the Infinity series.
Here's what kind of pisses me off about last year's announcement of it being in development. There were rumors and talks a couple of years ago. Actually, I think you shared the link with me, Dizzy. Like a couple of years back about ability of Wolverine and Star Wars being put into the Kingdom Hearts 3 universe when they were working on the game. And then last year, it's like, oh, officially, a couple of years ago, you were at this. Like, how is it officially last year when you're telling us years ago you're adding stuff to the game already? Makes no sense to me at all. So that's why officially, and it's been in development for the better part of a couple of years now. I'm pretty sure. Like, you guys suck. Put the fucking game out. If it's broken, I don't care. Put the fucking game out, and I'll play it. You can give me one fucking level as a beta, and I'll play that shit forever until
the last game that I heard of that took this long. Things turned out fantastic for it. When we finally got to play Duke Nukem, was it Forever? Everybody loved that game because you could grab Squishy Poo.
Squishy Poo.
Squishy Poo.
Squishy Poo.
Level 1. Go try it out.
Squishy Poo.
Squishy Poo.
Oh
Hashtag.
no, I believe in Square with this because it took them for fucking ever to get Final Fantasy 15 out, and it was such a good game. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people like that, and they changed the concept of it. How many times?
A lot. Quite a lot.
Yeah, I think people stopped keeping count of how many times they
Yeah.
changed the entire concept.
No, I believe in Square on this. I'm pretty sure they'll deliver, and I know it's gonna take it forever, but I'm very hopeful it's gonna be good.
Are they
Other
going to
two
hit the
games-
2018 release?
No.
No.
I believe they will.
Oh, it'll come in 2008. Watch. It'll ceasing in 2018. They'll have a 2-world beta by next September. It'll come out Christmas 2019.
I would rather them have it out next year than that chopped up piece of garbage Final Fantasy remake they're doing. I don't want no. Don't make my Final Fantasy episodes.
I'm with you on
No.
But I'm with you on that, but you know as well as I do that people who've been playing both series line want 7 more than they want Kingdom Hearts 3 because they want to see how it would look with better graphics and better gameplay. Failing to realize that Kingdom Hearts is the better of the 2 options. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Come after me.
Come at me, bro. my problem is I would be one of those people who would want Final Fantasy 7 more. I just don't like the episodic bullcrap. I hate that bullshit. It just they completely ruined the game for me as soon as they announced that. I have no interest in it now at all. Not gonna get it.
Second it comes out, you'll be one of the first ones in line right with me.
Nope.
Let's get it.
No, sir. I will not.
I don't know how much of Final Fantasy VII being split up actually bothers me because it is one of the longer Final Fantasies in the series. It definitely is one of the more loved in the series. I think that I'm more bothered not about the whole episodic thing, just because I imagine by the time that the next episode comes out, unless they take another 5 years to make the second episode, that probably will be the point because there's just so much in it and so much in the world, especially for back in 1997 when, everything was very, very surface deep when it came to games. I'm not too bothered by that as much as I'm bothered of taking the old IP and just like, we're going to enhance it. We're going to change it. I don't know. The nostalgic feel that I get out of that, I enjoy quite a bit.
I don't like the fact that they changed the combat in there at all.
Oh, how's the combat going to be different?
I think it's going to be...
Please don't tell me that they're dipping out on the materia system.
Doing what?
Have you not seen the... I don't know if it was fan made with the gameplay footage they had of it.
No, I haven't.
They showed off. It might have been fan made, but I remember seeing something about the combat system. It looks like it's kind of following the Final Fantasy 13 route, where it's like free roam combat.
I think it's gonna be, but it's either gonna be more like 15 than anything else, or in between 13 and 15. Which that's not Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 was a turn-based game.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
I don't know. I think for the modern gamer and everything, that's probably why they are making that adjustment. So for everybody who wants to go into it for the nostalgic feel and everything, they probably won't really get to feel how it was playing the original. Probably the best thing you could do is go get yourself a PlayStation original or a PS2, go buy the game, pop in a memory card, and go have fun. Yes.
Guess who still has it?
We know. We know. I think that probably the best thing that I liked in the game, I just mentioned it, was the materia system, where you would have you'd have let's call it a marble, and the marble gave you a certain power, and that power marble you level up and you can bring it along with you, and you can swap it out. You can swap it between your weapons. It'll change, everything about that. It kind of changes your schematics. a lot of games actually borrowed from that materia system and put it in the game. Of course, it wasn't materia, and it sucked that they went away from that, especially right afterwards with Final Fantasy VIII. But
I think the reason they did those because you could be stupidly overpowered in that game with the materia system.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
just stupidly overpowered. Dumb.
Just walk up. What up, Sephiroth? Backhand slap him in the face. We're done here. What the hell just happened?
Here's Knights of the Round 7 times, and then the other 2 people on the team are going to do it another 7 times, and there's 21 Knights of the Rounds with 7 people in the summon, all attacking you with 9 all at one point. Go ahead, take it.
Right. And at some point, those Knights are getting dizzy from being thrown around that table so many times that,
right?
I quit.
I mean, how your normal attacks, you can get them up to, quad cut? Where you could do like 9999 4 times with 1 normal attack, just a normal attack. It was ridiculous.
Panda, are you going to be getting Kingdom Hearts 3 at all?
I want it, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played the
other one?
No, I had it, and I tried to play it. I borrowed it from a friend when around the time that it came out when I was little, and I couldn't get past a certain part, and I had to give it back to him. So.
I was about to ask. I was just about to ask if you still have it borrowed, because you said you got it a long time ago. Because I know somebody else who borrows things and they never give it back. That would be Reaper's brother. But I digress from that. I still want my Memphis.
Where you at?
Where is it at? Like, that is a long borrowing time at that point.
Oh, dude, it's okay. How I came into ownership of my Final Fantasy VII game was I borrowed it from a friend before I left Missouri. Like a week before I left, I was like, hey, can I borrow that game? Yeah, man, sure. All right, cool. By the way, I moved to Boston.
Tell me that's not the most messed up thing ever, especially with games in your childhood.
Oh, yeah.
A friend comes over, someone you trust, says, hey, man, can I borrow this? And they move on your ass.
Yep.
That is why I went all digital. I ain't having this shit.
One thing that I really hope comes out of this, though, the whole Kingdom Hearts being confirmed to come to Xbox, even though it has been for years. I hope that maybe Square will find the time to maybe put the other 2 on Xbox, maybe?
Yeah, that's what Frodo wants to.
I would like that.
I do not see it happening, though.
I don't see it happening, if I'm honest, but I would like that because for people like Panda or Dizzy who haven't, gotten a chance to play it and finish it, they could catch up on the game and the story and everything if they're interested in 3. I think it would be a smart move, but we'll see. I don't see it happening, though.
My response to that has always been just go out and buy PS3 and buy Kingdom Hearts 1.5.
Yeah, but is a PS3 worth 1?
Or 1.5 and 2.5. Or just, track down a PS2 for like $40.
Yeah, do that. That's a smarter option.
Right. Spend more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You get a PS3, you also get, God of War, Metal Gear Solid 4. Still need to play those games. Shit.
So Panda.
Fuck.
Every time I see you on Xbox, you're playing a certain game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling us what game that is?
Overwatch.
Overwatch. Ah. Has anybody seen this lawsuit that the MLB is looking at cooking up on them?
Yeah.
Well, I was just enlightened today.
So was I.
Yeah.
Right. So what it looks like is the professional league for Overwatch. They came up with a logo. Pretty much has Tracer, and they did the whole split section, kind of like how you see within an MLB logo. But on the MLB logo, you have a batter in the silhouette. So this one has a silhouette of Tracer, right? And on one side it is orange, and the other side it looks like it's white or gray. And The MLB has a problem with that. They think that that is a copyright infringement, and they're actually investigating what legal actions they can take against them. Is this too far, or do they have grounds to stand on?
So, could the MLB then also take legal action against the NBA for doing something extremely similar to them?
Exactly.
Wonder if they ever thought
That's a
that
good
one.
question.
Seems like the MLB just needs to figure out how to speed the game up and get off their fucking high horses and move on with their lives.
But doesn't the MLG also have something similar? Only it's a white
I was just going to bring it
controller.
up. It's a controller. It's the same thing on the MLG. Like,
Really, it just seems like the MLB is just trying to stay relevant in their 4.5-hour baseball games that nobody wants to watch because it's 4.5 hours.
You know, I was
I'm
actually
coming for
talking
you
with
too, baseball.
I was talking with a friend about the MLB just the other day and everything, and we were talking about how boring it is. And I said, you know, the reason why it's boring now is because they made the baseball players give up the juice, and nobody's hitting record-breaking home runs anymore. At least it was a little bit more entertaining. Yes, I would have to agree. I think that there's a thing about relevance, and I think whenever you're starting to cut your time on ESPN for a video game, they're probably a little upset about that, a little bit salty and everything. So I guess that this is maybe where it's coming from. Are you still enjoying Overwatch?
oh yeah, I love Overwatch.
Have you played Paladins?
Nah, she just plays it all the time because she hates it so much.
Look, I have a love-hate relationship with my favorite game, so anybody could be in that boat. All right. So have you played Paladins at all?
No, I haven't played Paladins, but I've heard that it's very similar.
Yeah, very similar. Indeed that it is. So yeah, but that's just like a little quick hitter. We wanted to kind of like briefly talk about that.
They're definitely going too far.
Did any of y'all hop into the Reddit and read about it by any chance?
No, go ahead.
Because you go in there, you
check out the Reddit.
Yeah, I spent like an hour or two in there because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Like this one is the top one, and it said it's important to remember that one of the MLB broadcasting companies has already signed a multi-million deal with Riot Games to broadcast League of Legends. Overwatch League is likely considered a direct competitor, so this could be some kind of way to maybe sabotage it in some way, because it seems like MLB is actually very, very, very invested in this kind of digital infrastructure and all that kind of stuff, and I had no clue about it until I read the subreddit. And they have a lot going on. So it could be if it is their way of trying to sabotage Overwatch in any kind of way, which it seems very likely to me. I think it's a dumb way to do it because you're just going to give Overwatch more attention.
Oh yeah, what even bad publicity is good publicity.
Right. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I just wanted to point out that MLB's highly invested in that kind of infrastructure, and that's it's not just them going at it just for the logo's sake. They have a lot more
that's actually very interesting. That's a good point to actually bring up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't watch those kind of competitions myself. It's for a genre that I'm just not too particularly into.
I used to play League of Legends a lot, and personally, if I were gonna watch a game, I would rather watch Overwatch than watch League of Legends.
Yeah, I would have to say so. It just seems like that there's more skipping around with League of Legends because you got to keep up with a little bit more. Whereas, you could probably take Overwatch and focus on one individual and kind of get the grasp of how the whole match is going.
Right. Yeah, League
which is
whenever they do certain things that they do, it's so hard to even tell what's going on to a lot of people watching it.
Right. Right. So, any last thoughts on the whole Overwatch thing?
Nah. It's just silly. Silliness.
Yeah.
Well, I will bring up that couldn't the NHL technically still do the same thing to the NFL because their logos are very similar too, just different colors.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
I chalk it up because one is not petty, whereas the other one is, and one's gaining viewers, whereas the other one is losing viewers.
Right.
I mean, it's no surprise to anybody that the MLB has been losing viewers year after year after year. It's now calling it America's sport is probably something of a America's pastime.
Yeah.
For those kind of sakes, rather than, I mean, who doesn't enjoy football for the majority of individuals?
Not me.
And that's crazy. She lives in the city of Dallas.
I know.
Football everywhere.
I get a lot of
She's got America's
negative
team
comments.
with that psychotic, senile old guy who should probably sell his team and stop trying to be a coach. Yeah. I can see why you don't like football as much.
If being senile makes your franchise worth $4.3 billion from maybe 2 decades ago, I will be senile as well. But I digress. So the last thing that we got to talk about, this is just going to be a quick hitter. I know that we don't want to kind of dwell on it too long because not everybody here is a fan of ARK. Out of the 4 people up here, one person is not like the other 3.
Oh, that hurt.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I can't get through an episode without at least talking about ARK once. So
You don't say.
Big major news today. Big major. And Zero, would you care to kind of chivvy out some of these details of what we know what's happening with ARK?
Before we start this, should I go lay down in bed first, or
No, stop it, you.
Reaper, this is just the foreplay, all right?
yeah? Should I get in bed for this, or what? Come on, bro. I'll throw on that medium shirt from last week, and
Yes,
I'll throw.
I was about to say that. Put the baby cap back on. Oh Lord. All right, so what are these details am I going over? Specifically, the ones that stood out to me the most is Ragnarok coming out to the consoles on the 8th, with the full release of the game.
Did I not call that? Did I not say multiple times that it was silly for them to release a brand new map, a month before the game releases?
Right.
Rather than, why not release it on the day of release?
Yeah, that made more sense all around the board. But whatever they do is that's what they're doing. So there you go.
Right.
Other than that, PS4 ARK's finally gonna get an update. Did they say when that was? Was that Friday?
That should be Friday.
Right. Okay. They said it's gonna be later in the day Friday too, so I'm not sure what that's gonna mean. Because they're Pacific time, aren't they? Something like that.
They are a very anonymous. We recall our time zones whenever we want to because they're all over the globe right now.
Fair enough. Other than that, you're gonna be able to on the 8th rent servers through Nitrado?
Yeah,
Right?
Nitrado you'll be able to do that. We kind of like divvied into what that's going to entail. So you do get a PC server, you rent it out. So this means that you do pay per month to have a rented out server, which is not surprising. I'm actually I didn't see if you're going to be able to use your own database in order to host a server. Hopefully that is something that's in the works because I think that might be a little bit more intriguing for some individuals. But I mean, aside from that, I know that there was a lot of people that would rent the Battlefield 4 servers, just for the sake of having the servers and everything. So there's a market there for it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
You got to remind me what, but that's just the stuff that stood out to me, homie.
Okay, so yeah, we got the servers. You can have up to 100 people. They said that you're going to have with it. Of course, Ragnarok is going to be released the day of ARK's release, which is August 8th, which is a fantastic thing. They're doing a lot of the wrap-ups right now. Like, I mean, normally whenever I'm speaking with the developers on Twitter, they're very quick to respond and everything. Whatever, it's just like a bullshit breeze, comment and everything. Now, because they're under crunch time, they're only really talking to things that seem to be like nagging issues, right? So they got
the big thing we're missing. They are not wiping servers.
They are not wiping servers. Yes, I was actually just about to get to that, because one of the big things that a lot of people in the community have been talking about is for the official servers, should they be wiped or should they not be? And the reason why, for people who don't know with ARK, one of the big issues are cheaters. They find glitches, they find way to duplicate items, and then they'll take the best items, they just continuously dupe it and dupe it and dupe it. You could go to any YouTube video of a ARK war going on an official server, and it is guaranteed to have something to do with duping at some point or DDoS. So another thing that they were actually reintroducing to the servers are more securities, on top of the fact that they're going to have Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network and Steam support to be able to help keep them out. Now, I have heard people are already getting banned for cheating in the game. This started about yesterday. So people are already getting banned. Yeah, not wiping the servers. Seems like the Ghost Town servers, they're going to repurpose those Ghost Town servers. Yeah, is the term that they use, repurpose them. So that'll be known as legacy. Yes, you can go jump in a legacy server if you want to. Legacy cannot cross transfer over to non-legacy servers, and that's how that's going to work. Everything else, if I'm not mistaken, will end up being a cluster. So the clusters will be able to transfer between each other, but they won't go outside of their cluster, which means that the 4 maps that they have, they'll have the island, they'll have the center map, they'll have Scorched Earth, and they'll have Ragnarok. So, and if I'm not mistaken, post-launch, you'll get all of them. I don't believe that you're going to have to buy Scorched Earth separately. Which, give me your opinion. Do you think the Scorched Earth is about to become obsolete once Ragnarok releases?
No, not at all. I don't think so, because from what I've been watching on YouTube, there's still elements and creatures and stuff on Scorched Earth that don't appear on Ragnarok.
Which ones don't? Like the camelback, the camelsaurs, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I know those aren't Ragnarok.
The desert beaver with thorns, aka the thorny dragon.
Yeah,
but I believe it all the rest of them. Maybe the vulture.
Oh, there's definitely no vultures in Ragnarok, at least not from what I've seen.
I believe that the rest of them are.
I don't know. I feel like they're missing some. I couldn't go into detail. I don't know every animal off the top of my head.
Probably one of my biggest concern is that it was gonna make it obsolete, because we know that you're gonna be able to go get ice wyverns in one of the other in Ragnarok, and if you can get the ice wyverns there, you could probably get the other wyverns. I can't see them just bringing one but not the others. But, they haven't really said too much. I guess I could probably go look on PC to see what PC has going on.
Right.
What about you, Panda? I know that you are a Survivor connoisseur yourself.
I haven't played in a really long time.
Oh, get out of here.
But I haven't played in a while. I need to get back on it.
No, you don't. Stay strong.
No, I really want to get back on it, but my thing is with how busy I've been lately, I feel like, whenever you get on ARK, you have to have a dedicated amount of time to play.
Absolutely.
And I haven't had that time, so I'm like, let me not get on and then realize that it's 3 a.m. 30 minutes later.
That happens all the time, especially for me whenever my server's under attack and everything. It just seems to happen and everything. Yeah. And I expressed that on the Iron Lords podcast. Shout out to the Iron Lords podcast, make sure that you are tuning into it every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yes, si, senor.
Join the round table. Give them a shout out. Let them know that After Hours sent you over there. But I know that I expressed over there that it is definitely for the hardcore. If you do not have the time to dedicate it to it, or you don't want to be part of a hardcore game, it is definitely not a game for you. Definitely is not.
What I would suggest, I don't know if you're able to do it, Panda, but if you and SWAT are able to play it together, I don't know if well, y'all played it before, together in one game, right?
Yeah.
Me and SWAT.
Mm-hmm.
Very briefly. I've played a lot of single player, and then I've played a lot with some friends. They were kind of flying me around whenever I was first starting to play it. But I played a lot of single player, trying to kind of get used to everything, what I can and cannot do.
Right. Well, what I was going to suggest doing is something that me and my brother have been doing for like 2-3 weeks now, because it's not something that got a whole lot of attention. But you remember that tether that you had that wouldn't let you go too far away from one another on the privates? They got rid of that. Well, it's still there, but you can you can expand it so it's pretty much limitless. So what me and my brother have done.
So nice.
Yeah. So what me and my brother have done is we just in a little space we just put 99999 for the value. That way it's like I said, limitless. So the tether is just non-existent anymore on the server. And what we did is we both hopped in, and we spawn on opposite ends of the map. So now we kind of have like our own little world where it's actually like a living experience kind of thing. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun when you have somebody to play with.
Yeah,
it
I
absolutely
play it with SWAT, but like whenever we tried to play it with friends, that was one of the major issues, was not being able to go outside the little area.
Yes, that was the killer for trying to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's how it was outrageously annoying. I agree.
Yep. If only we could get Reaper to finally join the wonderful world of ARK.
You got a better chance at Square actually following through with the release date on time than you ever playing ARK.
I would almost engage into another bet, but we don't got time for all of that.
Yeah, don't do that to yourself.
So before we get all out of here,
another game I've been playing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the PC, the beta.
How are you enjoying it?
I love it. It is so much fun.
I haven't played it personally, but that game... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I haven't gotten to play that much of it, but from what I have played, it's incredible. It's really good.
Right. I haven't played it personally, but it is an absolute blast to watch on Twitch. It is so much fun to watch. It's so good.
The thing that I see whenever I'm watching PlayerUnknown is the exact same thing that I saw whenever I watched people play ARK on Twitch or Mixer or whichever they're going to be streaming to, is you could definitely tell and you can get a sense of the community that is built up around it, as well as how much they are enjoying themselves as they are playing the game. And I think that probably one of the most unsung thing about gaming and why we are all actually doing this is the actual enjoyment you get out of whenever you're playing a video game. And I think that a lot of the times, especially now with the social media and now it's not okay to like Sega, but you have to like Nintendo or vice versa. It's so aggressive now, and there's a lot of negativity that people completely forget that the whole purpose that we still come back to this is because we enjoy it. And sometimes we just get that enjoyment and we misconstrue it and we throw it somewhere else. And it's almost like fake love going out there, and getting involved in all this other stuff. And I agree. Whenever I see people playing PlayerUnknown, like I said, it's the same thing I saw when they were playing ARK. You see that community, you see them enjoying themselves, you see them enjoying the game. And to me, all the glitches in the world could be in that game, but if they're still enjoying it, what makes it bad? You know,
Right.
that's probably one of the biggest thing that goes down on ARK is everybody talks about, oh, the frame rates are terrible. Oh, the lag is terrible. Oh, it doesn't look great. Oh, this is stupid, you know, this and that. But when you get into that community, you see why those individuals enjoy the game. And again, with Players Unknown, I see that exact thing. And which, shout out to Lord King, I'm still going to win that bet. I just thought I should throw that out there, but I digress.
I hope you lose that bet. I really do.
That is
Yeah,
such
I'm
a
going to.
foul thing to say, you know, especially from one brother to another.
I forget what happens if you lose, but I hope you lose that bet.
That is so foul, my friend. That is so
What
foul.
happens if
I
you lose
cannot
again?
believe. If I lose this bet, okay, so the way that the bet is set up is if Player Unknown goes into the game preview on Xbox before the game is released. So we already know that they said that it's going to go to the game preview, but for whatever reason, Lord King seems to have bumped his head and is assuming that whenever it releases on the Xbox, it's going to release as a full-fledged game. It's going to be releasing as a full game. And they're still working on the game right now. And I don't know where he slipped and hit his head at, but he needs to call somebody for some help because I'm going to be getting Players Unknown for the Xbox.
Right.
And of course, if I lose, I have to purchase a game for him.
So you have to buy a game. If you lose, you have to buy a game, and if he loses,
I have to buy a game of his choosing up to a $60 value, mind you. I said I'm not buying anybody a collector's edition, no special editions. I'm not dropping $500 just because you get a Dinklebot with it.
And if he loses, he has to get ARK.
No, if
Now he has to buy
loses,
this pub.
I get Players Unknown. Now, the
So-
other bet that you're referring to is the one with Lord Cognito. Shout out to the Lord out there in the chat. If in some iteration, I don't think we've gotten the fine details, but pretty much if one of a little bit of the Fantastic Four ends up in the MCU with within the year, or at least announce that this is in the works, a certain Lord Cognito gets to join the wonderful world of ARK and play at least 100 hours. Oh, I can't wait for that day because he's going to be mining so much stone. It's going to be amazing.
Kevin, when you lose that bet with Lord Cognito, because you're going to lose that bet, what do you have to do?
And if I lose the bet,
There's no if.
I have to.
When you lose.
If I lose that bet, I have to purchase a game of his choosing. And I believe it's the same. I got to play it. I have to actually purchase it and play it. That's why I added that 100 hours onto there. I don't want him to purchase it and then say, "Oh, I spent an hour on ARK." No, sir. You are going to be spending at least $100 or 100 hours. So,
Okay, so
This man almost said $100. What? We're going
let's break it down. Disney's about to get a copy of Player Unknown for free because King's going to lose that bet. Dude, King, just shell the money out now, get it over with, save yourself a lot of time. And Disney, go get yourself Destiny 2 because you're going to lose that bet to COG easily.
he's probably going to have to at least find a second game because Destiny 2 is still 50-50. I told myself I'm not going to buy it for certain reasons, but they could still win me over with this beta. We'll see.
Dude.
It looks like that people are enjoying themselves. We'll see.
Beta.
And again, I told you and I told Frodo, if you both get it, I will buy the game. If only one of you gets it, I'm not buying the game.
So if I end up getting it, y'all heard it here. If I
If you end up
purchasing
getting
it,
it, I will buy it as well.
he has to buy it.
Oh, yeah, I stand by that. If two of you both buy it, I will have no problem buying the game. Get to only play with one of you and then pick up some random-ass scrub that I know for a fact I'm going to cuss out every second of every freaking strike we do with the kid.
Hey, if y'all get it, then we can have a playback gaming team.
Right. Yeah. See,
He's
Panda knows what's going on.
She is 100% correct with that. See, I thought that Lord Cognito would try to do me dirty, and he'd try to find something like little princess. Go buy that for $60 and Barbie around
Go
for
buy
for
My
100
Little Pony and
100 hours.
for that.
Like you got me out here driving pink mobiles and a tutu.
Bro,
What I'm doing out here.
Cog, when he loses his bet, make him buy a Barbie game and just whenever I get online, as you playing Barbie, I'm taking pictures.
No.
Every
No,
podcast.
make him get Hello Kitty.
Yes. Oh man.
I'll make him do 100 hours of Dark Souls 3 with no armor and only a dagger.
Oh my.
Online too, so he can get invaded. No summons.
Something he passionately hates.
You know, I hear he hates time splitters pretty hard. Actually,
I actually love time splitters. If they would actually Free Radical ever got back together and made another one, I'd be first in line. That was one of my favorite games on PlayStation 2. First time splitters. It's something that I passionately hate. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. Maybe on the next episode we'll kind of talk further about this bet and everything. So
we'll discuss games that we hate with a passion and why we hate them.
It sounds like a good topic. We got the topic for next. So tune in next week for games that we hate and why we fucking hate them.
The only time I will freely discuss ARK and not
I could personally say a lot about one game in particular, but
what's that?
Save it. Oh, you better save it. Absolutely. Don't give the spoilers.
People have already heard my part, so.
So Reaper, what games do you hate? As I pulled a long ass list. Well, where do I start?
Reaper will be out here looking like Santa Claus, checking his list twice.
Yo, I got a Santa hat too. Don't tempt me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and let's wrap this up and everything. So Reaper, if you want to start us off, kind sir.
You can find Reaper in bed.
You can find me in this glorious bed right behind me. I'll be there for the next 6 hours, unconscious to the world.
Before he goes to Baby Gap.
No, I've already went today. Don't worry, man. I already went to Baby Gap once. I can only go there once a week before it actually starts looking creepy that a grown ass man is at Baby Gap.
Fair enough. The weekly trip. I got you.
When I was working for the extra mediums, like, all right, dude, what the hell's going on with you? On a serious note, you can find me on Twitter at ReaperXLE. I did just change it finally. Xbox, ReaperXLE. Snapchat, Instagram. Just leave a comment or message me on Twitter for it. I have no problem giving it out. I just don't want to do it in a podcast because people are weird. Yeah, and then, my bed. You'll never actually see me there unless you're a creep.
Sounds like he's about to give us his Tinder as well. So,
hey man, I did try Tinder once, and it led to me giving my old number out at 3:00 in the morning when his girlfriend was over, and that was the best phone call I've ever heard at 3:00 in the morning. His girlfriend was not happy. I was in tears, and he came in pissed. He did get me back, but it will never be as sweet as hearing his girlfriend get woken up at 3:00 in the morning, pissed off that some random girl is calling him.
Lord Zero, if you kindly send us off as well.
You can find me. My name is Lord Zero ILP on Twitter, Xbox, everything else. I'll be putting up some kind of article tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but something will be there. So follow playbackgaming.net.
Exactly. You follow playbackgaming.net.
Go home, Reaper.
And Miss Panda?
You can follow me on Twitter. It's capital FSP, lowercase ANDA, capital FTW, or Fun Size Panda for the win. And then I'm also working on an article right now. That should be up ASAP.
Yeah, she's actually we've kind of like been bouncing off what she's working on next and everything. It's actually going to be something pretty fun and everything. A little bit different from like direct news, more of like again we're expanding a little bit into the opinion pieces over at playbackgaming.net. So you can actually see one of my recent things where I talked about why I thought that they should wipe the servers on ARK, and man, that's a piece. Especially now that we know that they're not wiping them. I do want to thank everybody here on the panel, Reaper, Sleet, Panda. This is my playback gaming team. I do appreciate them 100%, especially hopping on these after hours and everything. I do want to give a quick notice and a shout out to the Iron Lords podcast. Again, make sure you do tune in every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, for the Iron Lords and their round table with everything that they're going to be talking about. This week is probably going to be really phenomenal, especially with the Destiny beta out. You can also catch myself.
We got a really big guest coming on the show, I believe. So keep an eye out for that.
Exactly, keep an eye out for that. I don't want to spoil anything, but keep an eye out for it. You can also find myself and Panda every Tuesdays with Kid Smooth on his Planet Xbox. You'll find us up there. And again, my name is iDizzy. You can follow me on Twitter at iDizzy81, as well as on Xbox. And thank you once again. We're out.